Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to my transformation video for Zhu Rong from Toyseasy. This is the right leg of the combiner. So, starting in robot mode, let's get down to ship mode. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug his chest first, separate his left side of the command bridge to free up that hinge, rotate it around, get it out of the way. There we go. You want to free up that cavity. Fold down his middle horn and fold in the two side ones. And then flip his head forward. That's how you should have the back of his head looking. And then use these double joints to your advantage to get his head right in there. There we go. We're good. Nice and smooth. So go ahead and flip this back around just so it's out of our way for now. Next up, we will do the arms. So go ahead and fold the thumb down and all the hands in, bending them up to make a box. Go ahead and make sure that elbow is nice and straight. Come around the back, lift up on this, untab this, and now we can untab this and bring it out. Now is what we're going to do. We got to clear that anchor. So we'll rotate this around and we'll bring it out and we'll just slide it. It's going to be very close. You're probably going to hit this. It's fine. It is fine. Now we're going to untab these two red pieces, flip them up, and then accordion out the elbow joint. All right. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to rotate this around. And you want to make sure that it sits below the edge, because the two halves of the ship are going to come together. So I'll have it like that. And the fist is going to go into here. You've got a tab here going into a tab there, a dovetail here, dovetail there, and then the front section of the ship is just going to rest in place there. So that's what we're looking for. You want to make sure that elbow is nice and straight. And it should pretty much go in and just tab into place. Now, if it fights you a little, see, that was perfect. If it fights you a little, you just may have a little rotation. Maybe you got a little bend going on. Just massage it a little, work with it a little. It'll go in. So now that's done, we can go ahead and flip this around on that ball joint and get it ready to plug in. Ball joint is a little weird for me. There we go. Got to use a lot of different axes. I'm going to leave that untabbed for now. You'll see why later on, but it has to do with when we close up the ship. And I'll fold this out and fold this out to lock it into place. And that one I'll just leave on the back there. All right, second side, same exact thing. So fold the thumb in, bend the fingers at the first and the second knuckle, straighten out the elbow, pop this out, untab everything in the back. There we go. I always forget to untab that in the back. Then we'll rotate the fist around, try and give ourselves as much clearance by this anchor as possible, and you see there it's going to hit. I'm going to rotate that a little, and there we go. Open up the red pieces, stretch out that joint, rotate the hand in, sitting it like that, and then we've got the same thing. Hook it into here with those same joints, or same connections. Good. You can go ahead and close this up. You can unfold the landing pad here and leave that on the front of the arm, and then rotate this around. Good. All right, next up, we're gonna seal the two halves of the ship together. So I'm gonna fold this up, I'm gonna rotate it around, do the same on both sides. Now is how we want this. is you want the 3 pegs and the 3 ports facing each other. And we're just going to fold it up and put the 2 together. Now you do have dovetails here, so go ahead and lift up at least on this one. You can lift up on both, but you want to get that out of your way. I'm going to go ahead and lay it down for this as well. And you should be able to just bring everything together, and it should just tab in together. Now when you do the front, these 2 pieces also have dovetails, so make sure this one is behind this one. And because of the way these 2 tabs work, you're going to want to bring it together at an angle, hook it, and then you can close it up. If you try to just bring it together flat, it's going to fight you a lot. Alright, and then at this point, now you just start squeezing everything together, make sure everything gets tabbed, everything is lined up. There's a lot of different things you're looking for, but as long as you can see everything getting squeezed together like it is, you'll be alright. Now these joints here are fighting me a little. They're not wanting to tab in, and they should. That's a lot better. And you see these should pretty much line up. Those 2 round pieces, they line up together, and then everything else just goes together. I'll go ahead and put these 2 together with that dovetail, but I'm going to leave them out for now. I'm going to leave those up for now. We're going to come back to all that. Alright, because when we put these side panels in here, we're going to want this freed up. So, now that that's done, we'll go ahead and lift up on these side panels. Push down on this if you have it up. That is optional for the robot mode. I'm going to go ahead and tab these 2 pieces together, but you don't have to. I'm just trying to get things kind of somewhat out of the way. We're going to untab these red pieces in the back, and we're going to untab that whole piece of the side from the center. Then we're going to untab it from under here. There we go, just like that. Do the same over here. Get all of this out, because we need to flip up these 2 small triangle pieces. And you might be able to get in there with a finger. There we go, there's 1. And there's 2. And bring them up past flat. Then you've got to extend out these little gray pieces on both sides. And we'll leave that like that for right now. We're going to do the legs. So these side hip skirts, go ahead and get them down and extend out the red panel on both sides. Alright, so get it down into place so it's nice and flat. Extend out the red panel. If you're doing this straight out of the box, those red panels were probably not, they're probably already extended. It's just one of those things. They ship it differently than it should be. And then is what we're going to do is just spread both legs all the way and get them tabbed in. You have a port right here for a post on the underside of this panel. And that should tab right in, and it should line itself up pretty much automatically. Good. There's that. Now I'm going to lay them down. Alright, so I'm going to lift up on this panel. Well, first things, lift up on this gray piece, flip it around. Then lift up on the panel and rotate all of that inside, and then close it back down. So, gray piece, lift up, rotate, close. Alright? For these, lift up on the gray piece, fold that inside, and fold that over. And it's on a double joint. We'll go ahead and leave this up here for now. We'll come back to that. We'll do the same thing over here. Lift up, fold in, close, and I'll leave it up on that double joint. Next, we're going to go ahead and do the inner legs. So I'm going to lift up on this connection piece now, and this red piece now. We're going to need both of those for ship mode. Alright, I opened up that and opened up that. Now we're going to open up this side panel, fold this piece down, rotate this piece all the way in, and as you bring it out, rotate that in so it's sitting like that. Now we're going to close up the wings on the foot, rotate and fold the heel inside of the foot. Bring that down, rotate it, and you want to bring it in here, but you need it at an angle so it clears. And as you're doing this, you might need to give it a little wiggle, up, down, a little rotate, just to help it clear. And then when you get past, fold it up and fold it in. Then this will go into that cavity and you can close it all up. Done. Next, same exact thing. Open up, fold down, rotate this all the way in, rotate it around. Of course, this side has a peg sitting there, so it's a little bit tighter of a fit. There we go. Fold up the wings, fold up the heel, tilt and rotate, feed it in. There we go. Good. And then close this up. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to split this, and you should be able to just pull it apart and then start to bring it in. Now we don't want to close it up just yet. We got a couple other things. So we're going to do these. We're going to rotate them around to get them in place. And they have a tab that goes into this slot, and then this tab goes into a small slot on the side. So go ahead and, actually before we do that, let's make life a little easier. These side pieces, just open them up and fold those in. Because of the way that has an angle, it'll be easier to do it before you do this. And now we can bring that in, close it up, and there you go. Do the same thing over here. Now this side has this little piece, so make sure to rotate it so it's out of your way. But bring this up, tab that in, and close that up. And now before we close it up, there's one final thing, and it's this. It's got a pair of J-tabs, hook tabs. So you want this, go ahead and bring it up, and you can close it up. Bring the other one out and just leave it out for now, because it's going to go on top of that one. So now, with all that done, you can go ahead and close all this up. And there's just a bunch of pegs and ports and tabs and slots, all this kind of stuff, so it should just squeeze together pretty well. Now back here, we'll go ahead and close it up. There's those J-tabs like I told you, and there's also 2 tabs and slots right here. So just make sure this piece gets lined up with everything, which may possibly be easier said than done. It does not always want to line up. There we go. And then this tab, this hook, go ahead and close it up. And this hook, go ahead and close it up. And I'll tell you now, on my copy, this one isn't bad, but the gray one is incredibly stiff. So I don't try to close it up all the way. I just close it up enough that it hooks. And, you know, it's still a little raised up, but I can get a fingernail or a spudger underneath. So now go ahead, you've got 4 tabs here for these 4 slots. Go ahead and close those up. Get that all nice and squeezed down. These will just simply come forward and drop down. All right. And we are almost at the home stretch. So now we've got these side panels that I told you we'll leave out, and now we'll close them in. So this big one is going to go right back where it was for robot mode, but this one is now going to tab in. Oops. There we go. And this piece will come down and lock right on top of it. And you might need to try and angle this piece out just a little bit. There you go. That's good though. We'll do the same thing over here. Perfect. Now we're going to take the bridge. We're going to try and rotate it out of the way as best we can. It's not really going to be out of the way, but you know, we're trying, right? We're making an effort. So these pieces, you're going to fold in and they've got a dovetail. So we'll do the left side first. But stretch it out on that double joint, fold it in. And as we're bringing it in, we want to line up these red pieces. So you've got a post on the front of it that goes into a port in this large piece, and this large piece has a post that goes into a port in here. So you've got a couple of different things to line up. So, and then of course you got to make sure this goes down into the cavity, the little gap right here. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to get the gray piece in first. There we go. Now I'm going to line up this red piece, and then I'll line up this red piece. Give that a little bit of a squeeze, and we'll go do the other side. For up here, you can go ahead and tab that in. It's got a small tab here and a tab and slot that goes into that red piece. So go ahead and close that up. We can go ahead and close this up. Let's do this side before we go any further. So same thing, we'll lift up on that. We'll get the gray piece slotted in first, and watch out for this crane. I don't know what position you have that crane in, but just be careful of it. Get the gray piece lined up first, and then we'll get the red pieces pegged together. There's one. And there's the second. And then you can see they've got tab and slot there, and then they just kind of rest over each other on the rest of the way. So bring them together, get it all squeezed. These may not fit perfectly. I do have that issue. We can also go ahead, make sure these are out and flush, and tab these in. And that should all sit pretty good. Then back over here, I'll go ahead and get this piece tabbed in, this piece tabbed in. You can bring that crane up. I'm going to rotate it backwards for now. Bring these pieces up, and they've got two dovetails, as well as slots there for tabs there, tabs, slots, and you got a few different connection points, so it should all go together pretty securely. All right, so we are almost there. This piece, you just angle it up. This piece, angle it out, and then roll it down. Okay. And then for the bridge, so I'm going to rotate it around. I'm going to separate that side, and I got to split these small sections in half as well. And then that all just tabs together. And what we're looking for is these two small slots for a pair of small tabs right here under the bridge. So you just use this to angle it as you need to. Right there. Make sure it's straight. Lift up on the tower. Do not pull up on that. Oh, here. Lift up on the tower, and then I'll reattach this. There we go. You can angle this crane however you want, but there you go. That is Zhu Rong in his ship mode. So here's a quick side profile of what we're looking at. Here is the bottom. As I said, these do not fully stay together for me. I've tried and tried and tried. Then you've got the back. And the front. And then the top. So there we go. All right, and let's get down to transformation again to get into his leg mode. He is the right leg of the combiner. So we're going to flip this piece up, flip that around, and we're going to flip this piece down, just so that I don't forget about them later. I'm going to go ahead and take the bridge, separate it, bring it out, and we're going to fold it all up. And this little joint that it has, it goes into the small slot here, so just make sure that's unfolded and you can tab it all together, just like it would be for robot mode. You can compress the bridge down, and we're going to flip this around and flip that down, just so it's out of the way. Cool. So where to start? We'll start at the front first. So again, we'll give that a little rotate. We want to separate all this. So however you can, get in here and separate everything. A little easier said than done to actually get in there. Okay, cool. So get that up. Get that up. And get that. There we go. Great. Now we'll move this crane again because the hook is just going to be slightly in the way. I'll just have to be careful of it, sticking it out like that. So I'll go ahead and undo these. Give me some clearance. Open up these. Come on. There we go. All right. Now before we go any further, first thing, we're going to rotate this around 360. Now I'm going to separate these right here, and we're going to split apart the entire front of the ship. So the bottom red pieces, it's really only the front piece that's properly tabbed in, the others are just loosely there. And then remember, when you separate this front, you got to give it a little bit of an angle so these two pieces clear each other. So there we go. Separate it. Good. So what's going to happen here is we got to rotate it because this is going to be the ankle. And my first time, this was super confusing. So hopefully I can make it a little bit clearer for you so you don't run into the issues I did. So you've got this small tab. Oops, come on. This small tab here. That's going to go into that slot in the gray piece. And that was not super clear to me the first time that I did this, just going off the instructions. So I'm going to get these red pieces out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and do it on both sides now, just while I'm at it. All right. So it's a little tricky, the exact movements you need to do. So we're going to move this around. Then we're going to move this up like this. Okay. So you've got this kind of out of the way. You've got this set up, and you can see this tab is lined up with that gray slot. And then you're going to rotate it. And now that tab should be in the gray slot like that. Then we'll rotate this whole thing around, all of it, with these ports being on the inside. And that should be it. Super easy once you know how to rotate it. Like I said, that first time going off of the book, I was honestly a little confused. So, oops. Give that a rotate. Give that another rotate. And then give the entire thing a rotate. And that's it. Now it's locked in there, and then we have our joint. So we're going to bring these two halves together. Just like going into boat mode, remember, watch out for the dovetails. But you bring them together, it's all the same connections that we did use in boat mode. And yes, don't mind that piece, I'll show you where that came off. I gotta glue it in, it's super, super loose. There we go, get it all tabbed together. And then fold this panel down first. Join these and fold them down. For the crane, I'll just fold it back and keep it flush against the hull. Connect this And then for these, you want them kind of loosely back here. You don't need to tab them in or anything, they're just going to be in the way. So, can leave it like that. You could leave this split apart. Give yourself a little bit more clearance. The reason I say clearance is because that is the joint for the ankle. So, but there you go. That's the bottom part of the foot done. Like, that's all you have to do. Before we do that, separate these. You can see they've got these little channels for the ball joints. Want to rotate them so they're sitting down like that. And we need to take this apart. So, we're going to bring this down. Right now, I'm looking at clearance. All right, that's what we're looking for. So if you're wondering why I'm doing something, that's exactly why. We are going to have to lift out these, the knee and shin covers that were used in robot mode. Those are going to have to come out as well. So we're going to separate this buckle. It's going to be a lot easier if we just separate the two halves of the ship. Okay, there we go. I skipped ahead because that was fighting me, and so a plastic spudger doesn't really help with this. There's no way to get in there, and it just slips on it, so I have to use something metal, which is eventually going to ding this up a little bit. But, so you undo that latch, go ahead and undo this top piece, and remember it's got those J-hooks, so separate them. There we go. And then we're going to separate these large side pieces. And you can see that is where this fin came from. It just keeps falling out. I need to glue that in because it's not used for anything. So get these pieces up and tab them in just like they were for robot mode. You've got a tab and a slot right here. Okay, that'll uncover the knee joint. And then next up, we're going to get this all unfolded on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and split them apart because it'll make this next part a little bit easier. You don't necessarily have to, but I like to give myself the clearance just to pull these pieces out. See, I just need that little bit of clearance. I don't need much. Now, if I was doing this for real, combining it, this is where you would attach the combiner. There's a large square slot sitting right in here. The piece from the aircraft carrier's hip would slot into there, and you would clamp this on and connect it. I will show that in the combiner video when this set is complete, but if you already have everything and you want to combine them now, that's what you're doing. And then after that, you can clamp this back down, clamp this red one back down, and then of course you can combine these two, but do it at the back. Come on. Here we go. They will just make sure the fins are out of the way, and these will just come down right here. Then you can close these up. Remembering they do have the little overlapping joints. Fold these down. Put those back in. These pieces just rest back here. These pieces, angle them back. And then after, the very last thing to do is we're going to put these panels back down. Just get those tabbed in right where they were for the boat mode. tab them in at the back and tab them in at the front, and that covers up the ankle joint. We'll put this, tab that in place. Take a quick look around because I believe we are done. We'll fold that down. We can fold this back down so that it's all nice and straight. But that is it. You've got all this down here, which is movable. Yep, there we go. So, there's your front. There's your side. There's your back. All right. There is Zhu Rong in his leg mode. Okay, and now let's get down to transformation one more time to get back to robot mode, which, considering some of the work we've done, it's not that bad. So we'll go ahead and do the legs first. So of course, first thing, we'll pop open that latch, lift this up and open up that latch. Yeah, I forgot to mention this little turret also likes to keep falling out. All right, and then we need to separate these two pieces. There we go. So these fins also, you got to have them kind of in an area because they go into a small channel there. So because you see, they fit right in there. So, but that is, yep, that's good for that one. I'll leave that sitting there for now. And we can go ahead and split the legs apart. Go ahead and lift up on that piece so it's out of the way. We'll lift up on that so that's out of the way. And we'll get these two hip skirt pieces taken out. And now we should be good. Let's see here. Go ahead and lift up on these two pieces so we can get these panels out. Fold in the small gray tab. And at this point, go ahead and separate these. Let's see, command bridge is in the way, so put these down, get the command bridge out of the way. We'll get this panel completely out of the way, bridge back down, and get these up. There we go. And now get all these side panels out of the way. So you can put this panel down into place. And then you can, we'll go ahead and keep it up here for now. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Do this on both sides. Go ahead and unplug all these panels. And just fold these triangle pieces in so that they're out of our way. And then we've got that area smooth so we can rotate this as we need to. So now we'll go ahead and keep splitting this. And go ahead and join the two tabs. You can see all those posts and ports in there. Nothing special there, to be honest. I'll go ahead and angle those up and lay him down. All right, and we've already kind of done the legs, so go ahead and bring these two hip skirt pieces together, or crotch coverings, whatever they are. Okay, and they have little tabs. Let me show you, actually. They have little tabs that go into this slot right here. So you just line it up. There we go. We've already got these pieces out because we're coming from the combined mode. Over here, fold in those two connectors that were used for boat and combined mode. And then make sure that this goes right back down into place. If you move that rudder, get it back, there we go. We can go ahead and put this one down into place. And again, watch that rudder. Now we'll flip open these inner panels. We'll do this one first. We'll flip this around and rotate this piece all the way out until it stops. And then you can tab this in. It's got a small tab for a slot right there. Okay, so that's how you got that. So to get the feet out, it's a little uncomfortable. I grab the fin and I pull gently, but as soon as I can, I grab the foot. I don't like to pull on that fin any more than I have to. And then angle it up and down a little bit as you need to get it out. And then we'll rotate this all the way around, bring the heel out, rotate it. And I'll do the fins later because, again, I don't want those flopping around and getting damaged. And you can close that back up. Do the same over here. Now this side has a post right here, where there's a port over here. So in order to flip this out, you might need to kind of bring it back and forth a little bit and play with the angle a little. You can force it past the post, but you might damage it eventually. So just be careful there, and you might need to bring it all the way open, then close a little, then open, and that's what I just did. Just a little bit of wiggle room, right? That's all you need. Okay, and the same thing. You do have to angle this down because it's such a small area to fit. Bring that out, the heel out, and also this channel. This is where the combiner attachment would fit. So, I'd said there's a large square cutout. Yeah, that's it in both legs. So that should be pretty much it for the legs. We'll go ahead and untab them from these panels. And bring them down. And that post and port is secure, isn't it? Come on now. There we go. That did not want to give it up. That turret fell off again. I'm just going to leave that off for now. I think I'll glue it after this video. I am about done dealing with that turret. So this piece, you can just fold it over. And these red pieces, fold them all the way in. And then fold this over. And it'll be sitting like that. The red piece will be in that little cutout. And do that on both sides. Alright, so there we go. Like I said, we'll do those fins last. Just in case he falls, I don't want those getting damaged. Okay, so there's the legs complete. Now let's do the arms. So first thing we'll do for the arms is we're going to split apart the deck of the ship here. So remember, you've got dovetail, so you got to do the middle section first, then you do this section, then you come up here and you can angle and separate the front parts of the ship. Go ahead and get these out of our way for now. Let all this... We can actually tab all this in right now. So let's do that. Give us some clearance. So tab in this big side piece, and then tab in this small piece down here. And then these pieces can come down, and they have a tab that goes into this slot. There we go. Command center, I'll leave it down there like that. Okay. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to continue to separate the arms. And let's go ahead and do that rotate, because we're going to have to do that 360 on that. So there we go. Separate the arms. And now remember, we've got that tab to get out. So we're going to rotate this a little. Give us some clearance. We're going to rotate it at that joint to free up that tab, and then we'll rotate again at that joint There we go. So what happened there is basically this was in the wrong place and it was preventing me from moving that the way I needed to. So now you can see that can kind of play against you. So again, over here, let's try and do it a little smoother this time. We'll rotate that out. I'll move that up a little. We'll rotate that down. And then I'll rotate this way so you can bend it forward, and then we can rotate the whole thing. That's a little better. And then these just kind of tab into place. They're secure enough. So there, we're getting there. So let's go ahead and do the rest of the arms. So I'm just going to angle them up. What we're going to do here is the flat panel. We're going to fold that over. We're going to bring this out. Already got these red pieces kind of out of the way. But I'm going to bring that one in a bit. There we go. And we are going to untab this center section. And when it comes around here, we'll rotate the hand out. And then rotate it a little bit so that, again, the back of the hand is going to go past the anchor. And then just bring it in and get that tabbed into place. Rotate the hand. Bring this back on this joint. And then you can close up these red pieces. That just goes in there and it locks that joint in place. And then you have a very small tab and slot here. Then under here, now we can fold this piece down to lock that entire forearm in place, and then this just rests up there. Then this panel, close it up, and this one just rests in place pretty much. All right, so that's one done. I'll do the same thing over here. We'll bring this out. We'll fold this over and we'll open up this corner piece. And we'll separate the middle section. Bring the fist out. Oops, rotated that the wrong way. Good, there we go. Back of the hand. Give that a rotate past the anchor and tab that in. Close up this forearm piece to lock it. Close up that. Shrink this double joint for the elbow. Bring this panel in to lock it. Tab this panel in. Close up this back panel. Put this one in place. So rotate that fist. And now for this, we're gonna that's the one I wanted. I'm gonna separate that so we have some room to get the head out. And this can sometimes fight a little bit. There we go, good. And it's got a slot here for a tab right here. Just bring that in, get that tabbed into place. Go ahead and close this up and rotate around and get that tabbed in. Bring out his two side horns. If you didn't already by mistake, push down on the front of his third horn. Then we come back here, we'll take these, angle them up, close that in, make sure these are where they need to be. And last thing, you can take this, just put it on the back so it's not on the side, and we will fold these fins back. And that is it. That is Zhu Rong in his robot mode. So again, there's the front, the side, definitely got to glue that on after this video. The back, you can also angle this piece up if you want. As you can see, it doesn't really make a big difference. It's all up to you. And then the other side. All right, so there you go. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped some of you, and until next time.